Hello. Today we're going to be talking about two companies in our content that we reviewed a year ago, and now we're coming back to revisit them. Both companies have experienced success in the stock market, and they have some interesting news for the past 30 days. So, since we wrote about them a year ago, we're looking at our industrial sector, capital goods industry group, and electrical equipment. The two companies are Bloom Energy and Plug Power, both involved heavily in the hydrogen space. So if we look at the 365-day overview here, we can see that Bloom by impact score is the fourth highest for this industry group. And then Plug Power is right here, so roughly top 10, maybe a tad lower. So these are two companies that we saw on our radar last year during earnings calls topics review, and they've been busy since then. And in the past 30 days, especially, there's some interesting news. With increased optimism about renewable energy and some of the regulatory stuff going on. Both companies are taking advantage of that and putting their hydrogen technology to work. So the one that had the higher volume for this 30-day period was Plug Power. The big story there is the if you look at the detailed data, they had a big power plant that's going to be opening up in Genesee County, New York. There's tax credits that are going towards, some of the cost for this. So they're getting in on the green energy tax credits, and it's going to be a big kind of manufacturing uh, facility tech kind of campus that has been um, yeah, it was one of the county economic development committees has like kind of brainstormed this STAMP, and the Plug power plant, hydrogen power plant, is going to be the first construction there to kind of bring back some high tech and manufacturing jobs to Western New York. There's a power purchase agreement in place for the New York Power Authority for the Niagara Falls hydroelectric to help produce some of this hydrogen. And I think they'll be installing wind or solar on site as well for the hydrogen production. Yeah, it's right here. Dedicated solar arrays or wind farms to power its plants. So that was the big one for Plug Power, but they also have other partnerships. They're looking to do the same thing in Europe, and they're also made announcements that there'll be opening similar facilities in Georgia and Pennsylvania in the coming and Australia as well, partnering with Fortescue. So when it comes to expansion, Plug Power definitely has a lot in place. Their stock has been performing well. They just posted their highest revenue in company history this past quarter, and it seems like they have a lot of partners and government optimism on their side. They also had the Airbus deal that we talked about in September, where they're in play to pilot a hydrogen aircraft for Airbus. And then the other company that we're taking a look at is Bloom Energy. And so there was a little bit less news here, but they're also a major player in the space with partnerships in South Korea, and they're based in California, so they do a lot of work there as well. Oh, and here's from investing.com. Plug Power and Bloom Energy have gained massive traction in the renewable energy space. So they're another company that their stock has done pretty well over the past year. I think both stocks are up around 70% or higher. They're starting to pilot a new project in California where they're generating renewable energy from cow manure. This is something they think can be scalable to other farms in the area and across the country. It's generating, I think they said, 1 megawatt of power, so that's it's pretty substantial for biogas from a waste byproduct. And then there was also news that they're installing their fuel cell servers in Colchester, Connecticut, which is a little bit outside their market. They usually operate in South Korea and California, so they're expanding. Even though it's a small town, it's an interesting use case for them. And then the other big project that they have is SK is expanding a partnership with Bloom, and they're also in. They have a research agreement in place to look at exploring hydrogen for shipping. So Bloom wants to do the fuel cells for shipping, and Plug Power wants to do the fuel cells for aviation. So they both are in the power generation space, but they also have these interesting partnerships that down the road might play a bigger factor in their revenues or company growth. So they're both spending a lot of money on capex and research and development, and there's a lot of optimism right now and potential tax credits in the upcoming infrastructure bill. So this was a good time to revisit these two companies that have done really well in the past year since we wrote about them.